Hello everyone, so in our last video we talked about the supply and the supply curve and what are the factors that affect the supply, and we also looked upon how the changes in price causes the movement along the supply curve, right? This is that an increase in price cause the movement from point A to point B along the supply curve, and the quantity supply increase from Q0 to Q1, and the reverse happen if the price decreases. So if the price decreases from P1 to P0, there is a movement along the curve from point B to point A, and the quantity supplies decrease from Q1 to Q0. So now in this video we will talk about the shifts in the supply curve. So any factor other than price that causes the quantity supply to change, the quantity supply to increase or decrease, the change caused by factors other than price will be illustrated through the shift in the supply curve. So let's say this is the original supply curve of S, and now the government has introduced a new subsidy for the production of good X. Let's say this is the quantity of X. So the government has introduced the subsidy for the production of X. So in this case, let's say if the initial price was in the market was P0, so at this initial price of P0, if the initial, let's say, quantity supplied was Q0, so now due to increased incentive by the government through the subsidy, the producer might want to produce quantity Q1 at that given level of price. So the supply has increased from S to, let's say, S1. So in this case, the quantity supplied has increased at each and every price level. Let's say at this price level P1, the quantity supplied has increased from point A to point B. So basically, a positive change in supply due to factors other than price will be illustrated through the outward shift in the supply curve, and the same goes for the inward shift or something for factors that negatively affect the supply curve. Let's say instead of subsidy, the government has introduced the taxes on the supply of good X. So at the given level of price of P0, the initial quantity was Q0, but due to increased taxes, the supplier now is supplying quantity Q2 in the market. So at this given price level, the quantity supplied has decreased and the supply curve has shifted backwards. Let's say this is the new supply curve S2. So this S2 is if the government introduces taxes, and this S1 is if the government introduces subsidies. So now we will look upon how the market supply curve is derived from the individual supply curve. For example, producer A has this supply curve. At price 5, the producer A was willing to produce 5 units of good, and let's say this is the supply curve of producer B, where at the price of 5 rupees he was only willing and able to produce the quantity of 3 units. So the market supply curve is the horizontal summation of all individual supply curve. So in this case, the market supply curve would be something like this, that at the price of 5 rupees, the market supply would be 8 units of good. So market supply is basically the horizontal summation of all the individual supply curves, and as we all know, the producer combinedly constitute the supply of the market. So the supply given by each producer at the given market price is if we sum them all, that is the market supply. So basically, the market supply is the horizontal summation of all the individual supply curves. So now let's just have a look at an example of how the different factors affect the supply of the goods and how it is illustrated through the supply curve. So in this example, the prices of petrol has reduced, and we have to show how this reduction in the prices of petrol would affect the supply of the wheat in the market. So basically, let's say this is the original supply curve of S, and this is the price line of P naught, and we were supplying quantity Q naught initially in the market. So if the prices of petrol would reduce, this will reduce the cost of transportation of wheat into the market, and due to the reduction in cost of transportation, the profit of the profit would increase for the producer, and he would be willing to produce, or we would be willing to supply more of wheat at that given initial price of P naught. So the quantity will increase from Q naught to Q1 at the given price of P naught, and the supply curve would shift outwards from S to S2. So that's all for this video, and up till now we have covered the demand and the supply, and in our next video we will look upon how these forces of demand and supply meet in the market to give us the market equilibrium price and quantity of goods. So you can find this video and other videos at studyspacepk.com, and thanks for watching this video.